Hello, my name's Amy Weisberger, and I'm going to record a demonstration of the GoToMeeting tool and explain the purpose of using this type of technology as a means for collaboration and for training to remote locations. This recording will serve as a resource tool for future use as a self-directed, on-demand tutorial for others in my organization. In addition, GoToMeeting can be used to hold meetings for remote participants within my own organization and a tool for virtual collaboration. Today, the learning objectives include how to create a GoToMeeting with invitations that are sent to participants, using the computer web camera and a microphone to hold a live interactive Train the Trainer session. And as a result of today's training, the trainers will be able to create and host their own GoToMeetings to collaborate and have their own virtual training sessions. So the first thing I want to do is to introduce Jen Villani, who is one of the trainers at Morgan Properties and my test subject for the Train the Trainer. I've logged into GoToMeeting, and Jen was already logged in as well because I sent her the invitation. Should you want to invite additional participants, what I did was I created an email, which I can simply do by clicking on email. And I can now invite whoever I'd like to come to do this GoToMeeting. And oftentimes what I do is I'll put this in the body of a calendar invitation in my Outlook, and then I can invite whoever I want. The link is already located in my calendar and in the attendees calendar. So when the time comes to have their meeting, all the person has to do is click on the link in their calendar. You can also do on-demand GoToMeetings where you're in and you simply send the link right away to the person, or you invite them to log into joingotomeeting.com and then you give them the meeting ID. For today's purposes, Jen had already gone to Join GoToMeeting and entered the information so that we could get started. So we're both logged in to the GoToMeeting webinar, and I have decided to share my webcam with her. She then decided that she was going to share her webcam with me, and that means that now we can have a conversation. So I can simply say, "Hello, Jen."
Hello, Amy.
And this allows us to go back and forth while still looking at maybe a document, or if we're collaborating together to put together some type of a training, we can look at it. Or if Jen had a question and maybe needed my help and wanted to have more of a conversation versus going back and forth via email, we now have the ability to do that by using this GoToMeeting tool. I'm actually going to close this and demonstrate the various parts of this GoToMeeting. When you have a larger group, oftentimes what I'll do is I'll put everybody on mute and not allow them to use the audio at all. And I can do that by muting them all through the attendee list, or by giving them an audio PIN number, and then they can mute and unmute themselves. But I also have the option down here, and I can click and this will mute everybody. So now if Jen tries to talk to me, "Hi, Jen," nobody will be able to hear her because her microphone has been muted. I can unmute everybody. I can individually unmute somebody, but you can see that she's been muted by having the little telephone with the line going across it. But now I've let her have her voice again. The other thing that you can do if you have a group is you can have a chat going. So I can either chat directly with just one participant, or I can chat with the whole group by working the chat button. And this allows me to have a conversation, or people can ask questions. And it makes it very easy to keep the webinar going or the GoToMeeting going, and at the end you can then go and answer questions for people. And when I click send, you can see that it shows up. Other things that you can do are you can use a pen. There's lots of fun tools. There's a highlighter, and then there's things that you can erase as you're going. You can use a pointer. So there's lots of little bells and whistles to make the learning more interactive. And you can see that Jen responded to me in the chat, which is lovely. And we could have a sidebar conversation if we truly wanted to, and we could just talk back and forth to one another. I can also start to see if somebody's paying attention or not paying attention to me. So if they start going into other pages and they get off of my screen and they seem to be sort of in no man's land, I'll be able to start seeing that Jen has lost some attention. And I might even call her out on it. Who knows? It's important that people pay attention when they're in a meeting with me. And I think when they're in the meeting with anybody, they should be paying attention. I'm just exiting out of that email that I was sending to Jennifer. I can also use this to collaborate with other people and allow people to take control of my screen. So you can see right here, it's telling me what's going on. And when I started sharing my screen, I wanted to make sure that my background information wasn't all up and running. So if I had just set up my GoToMeeting and I didn't do a clean screen, you'd see a picture of my team when we were doing a fun event and we're all sticking our tongues out. You'd see all of the different shortcuts that I have on my computer, and I really don't want that when I'm doing a training session. So I keep it clean, and now they can't see any of the icons. All they'll see is whatever I choose to have up on the screen. So for example, I'm opening up a Word document, and now all they're going to see is the document that I have up. It keeps it much tidier. And of course I need to get out of this. There we go. The other thing that I can do is change the presenter. So if I wanted to make Jen the presenter, I would simply click this and it would say to me, are you sure you want to make Jen the presenter? And my answer is, yeah, I do. So I'm going to click yes. And now we are seeing Jennifer's computer. She's now got control of the mouse, and she can pull up a document. She can start scheduling things. She can do whatever she wants on her computer. So I might say to her, hey, Jen, I don't have, do you still have in your files that old Excel file that we wanted to take a look at? Let me switch controls over to you. And she can do that and then pull up the document. Whoever has the mouse in this case becomes in charge. Now I'm going to turn it back to me. I just took her controls away. So now Jen, you can see that it's telling me that I'm now the presenter. And you can see that I didn't change my screen back to being clean. I still see my old screen. And now it's clean again. So I can also make some rules. I can share with certain people, or I can share with everybody. So if I share with everybody, that means that anybody in the meeting can have access to be actually running and pulling up documents for everybody to see. In a nutshell, that's the way that you use a GoToMeeting. The other neat thing that you can do is you can record the entire session. So if I choose to record a GoToMeeting, I then have that record that allows people on demand and just-in-time learning to go and use at their own leisure. We often do this when we're rolling out new software programs, and maybe we'll hold a GoToMeeting that answers questions, or we do a quick training, and maybe not everybody can be on that. Well, we'll record it, and then we'll let everybody know that we've posted it somewhere so they can look at it on demand. It's very helpful, especially when we're doing quick tutorials for people. So I thank you for joining, but before we finish, I just want to make sure that Jen understands and has learned how to use GoToMeeting. So I'm going to ask her to tell me what she should do if she wanted to host her own GoToMeeting. If she could quickly walk us through those steps. Jen?
I would go to meeting. I would start the meeting. I could then invite people to join the meeting by sending them an email request, or I could ask them to go to gotomeeting.com and put in the PIN. And then they would be able to join the meeting. I would have to enable video controls for them if I wanted to be able to see them personally, like we can see each other right now. And from there, I would begin to share my screen and display information that I wanted to share with other people. And if I chose to, I could also allow another participant to have access to share what was on their screen as well.
That's excellent, Jen. It sounds like you know how to use GoToMeeting. And the other thing that you can also do is you can quickly capture screenshots while you're doing this. So if I wanted to take a picture of Jennifer and myself enjoying our GoToMeeting, I just captured that shot. It's saved in my pictures, and now I have a souvenir of today's training. Thank you, Jennifer, for coming along for this fun ride, and I appreciate you helping me demonstrate how to use GoToMeeting. I'm now going to end this session by clicking right here, Exit, and when I do, it asks me if I'd like to end the meeting for everybody, and yes, I do. I want to end the meeting for all. It's going to say, are you sure? Yes, I am. Thank you for joining. Bye-bye.